Today, we are going to unpack a new global plan that honestly is giving a lot of people some serious flashbacks to 2020, but the reason behind it is probably not what you're thinking. And it all points to this hidden crisis that's unfolding as we speak. So, does any of this sound familiar to you? All this talk about working from home, maybe cutting back on travel, even changing how you use your car on the weekends. It's a weird sense of deja vu, right? But I'll tell you right now, this time, it has absolutely nothing to do with public health. And that's because a very powerful international agency has just dropped a 10-point emergency plan that's sending some serious shockwaves around the world. The recommendations, well, they sound so much like the restrictions we all remember, and it's starting to cause a lot of confusion and, frankly, real concern. So that's the big mystery we're going to get to the bottom of. If a virus isn't behind this, what kind of global emergency could possibly be so bad that it requires these kinds of drastic measures on a worldwide scale? Well, the problem isn't biological at all. It's geopolitical. And it's all centered on one of the most critical choke points in the entire world's energy supply chain. The pressure from this one single location is being felt by the entire global economy. And here it is. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Now, what's so wild about this is just how narrow it is. We're talking only 33 kilometers wide. This tiny little waterway is the single most important choke point for global oil transport. And as you can see, its strategic location puts it directly under the control of Iran. And because of all the escalating conflicts in the region, this absolutely vital passage has been severely disrupted. Ships are really struggling to get through, and that has just thrown the entire global supply chain for crude oil into complete chaos. The bottom line is, when this strait gets blocked, the whole world feels it almost instantly. Now, this disruption, it isn't just some headline you'll see on the news and forget about. No, this is having a very real, very tangible impact that people are already starting to feel directly in their wallets. And this slide just perfectly illustrates the immediate fallout. I mean, just look at these numbers. In Pakistan, fuel prices have shot up by 47%. In Bangladesh, it's 38%, and in Sri Lanka, 35%. These are just staggering increases, and they're hitting countries that don't have their own big energy reserves the absolute hardest. Just try to imagine your fuel bill almost doubling overnight. So you might be asking, why are some nations getting hammered so much more than others? Well, it really just comes down to one thing: strategic reserves. Countries like the ones we just saw, they rely on that day-to-day flow of oil. But then you have a nation like India, for example, that keeps a 74-day strategic reserve. Think of it like a giant emergency fuel tank. It acts as this crucial buffer, and it buys them time before that price shock really hits everyone's wallets. It's a pretty stark reminder of just how important energy security really is. Okay, so with this crisis really starting to spin up, a global body has stepped in with a plan. So let's take a look at the organization behind these lockdown-style recommendations and see what exactly they're proposing we do about this energy crunch. So meet the IEA, that's the International Energy Agency. You can kind of think of it as a global energy control room. It was actually formed way back in 1974 for exactly these kinds of situations, to help powerful countries coordinate a response to major oil shocks. Its members include about 33 of the world's biggest economies, although it is really important to point out that major players like India, China, and Russia, they're not members. And here they are. These are the measures they're urging the world to adopt. And this is where that 2020 feeling really comes rushing back. They're saying work from home up to 3 days a week to cut fuel for commuting, reduce highway speed limits by at least 10 kilometers an hour, use more public transport, start carpooling. They even suggest restricting car access to large cities on Sundays, and finally, avoid non-essential air travel. It is a full-on plan designed to slash oil demand, and to do it fast. But here's the thing that is so crucial to understand. This energy crisis and the IEA's plan, they are not happening in a vacuum. They are symptoms of much larger and honestly much more dangerous global tensions that really feel like they're about to boil over. You see, the disruption in the Strait of Hormuz is a direct result of military and political conflict. As alliances start to shift and the rhetoric gets more and more heated, the risk of some kind of miscalculation just keeps growing, with the entire global energy supply caught right in the middle of it all. For instance, check out this recent and very serious claim coming from Iran. They have actually stated that they successfully shot down one of America's most advanced fighter jets, the F-35. Now, a claim like that, whether it's ever confirmed or not, dramatically raises the stakes in this military standoff. And at the exact same time, we're seeing these really deep cracks forming between traditional Western allies. This recent message from a prominent American political figure directly calls out NATO allies, saying they are a paper tiger without the US, and that their lack of action will be remembered. This kind of statement, it just exposes how fragile these longstanding alliances are, especially at a moment of crisis like this. So all of this brings us to the final and most critical question. Is this 10-point plan just a temporary fix for a short-term problem? Or are we getting a preview of a future where our daily lives are going to be increasingly shaped by energy scarcity and geopolitical games of chicken? What happens next is really going to determine the answer.